Okay, so I want to share with you a quick update on how the running is going. And more importantly, I want to talk to you about 5 words which I heard someone say. And the moment I heard them say them, it just totally seared my soul about a year ago because there's a really good tie in with the running stuff as well as business as a whole. So, first of all, I did the Surf City Half Marathon on February 2nd, 2020. That's in Huntington Beach, and it went really well. This was not an all out race because of the proximity to the LA Marathon, which is on March 8th. So the goal was to run at least the first half of the half marathon at my goal marathon pace, which is 7:19 per mile. And then I wanted to touch it up last few miles. And then if I was feeling really good, last 2 miles, let's kind of let it rip. So it basically couldn't have gone any better. First of all, anytime you want to run a marathon, the Huntington Beach area is just pretty much the best option. I mean, you're in Southern California, you're on the beach, so there's no real elevation. So I highly suggest the Surf City Half Marathon. It was awesome. It's a small race. Only about 12,000 people ran the half marathon. So logistically, it's very achievable. If you want to move locations, if you want to go buy something in a store, you're not going to have massive, massive lines. Now, as far as the actual running was concerned, I've done a lot of really slow, easy miles, and then about 15% of my miles have been faster than my goal marathon pace. But I haven't really spent a lot of time in that 7:19 per mile range. So admittedly, I was a little intimidated by the speed. Everything started to click about mile 5 and just started cruising, started clocking in some 7:12s at a mile 9 and 10. And the last 2 miles definitely let it rip. I finished the last mile in like 6:18, which is pretty blistering after that many miles. So I was very happy with that. The average for the race was about 7:06 for the half marathon per mile. So right on track. I made that bold claim that the 3:12 goal of the marathon, which would be an average of 7:19s, that was kind of my big audacious goal as I went into this to kind of raise the stakes and get some witnesses. I can say now confidently that's on the table. Now there's a big difference between being on the table and having done it. The main difference there is I have to stay injury free, which can be challenging. I have a little bit of tendonitis in my right foot right now. So we'll see how that goes. It's something that I'm definitely very cautious about. This is what happens when you get older. You start to deal with these little problems and they can be a little nagging. So you're playing with fire, basically. You got to be very, very cautious about not pushing it too hard, not pushing it too hard consecutively. And it's been a learning curve. But the point is, in terms of fitness, it's in range, which is awesome and really exciting. So I just wanted to provide that quick update because I know some of you are kind of paying attention, and I really do appreciate all the support. But more importantly, I share this because I want to inspire people to do awesome and challenging things, to set large goals, create a plan of action to accomplish them, raise the stakes, get some witnesses, take action, get a coach, those types of things. And if you build up that muscle, that goal setting, goal accomplishing muscle, you can put that energy towards something pretty incredible and rewarding and potentially very lucrative. So whatever it is that you're kind of contemplating in the back of your mind, something that you might be thinking, man, it'd be awesome if I could do that thing. The truth is, you can. And that's something that I've found sharing this journey to the LA Marathon. Ever since I've said something about it, I started receiving a lot of emails from people all over the world, successful entrepreneurs, people who are busy, people who have families, all doing similar stuff. And of course, everyone is at different levels. I have a friend that I was talking to at IREC who is an Ironman guy. Like, he has flown all around the world competing in these ridiculous 10 to 14 hour events. And he's very good, very talented, and has put in a ton of work. So if he does a Ironman where there's 2,000 people in it, he'll be in the top 10. And this is in the top 10 of people that want to do an Ironman, which, for those of you who don't know, the numbers are something close to a 2-mile swim in the ocean, a 110-mile bike ride, and then a marathon. It's an all-out grind. So there's that. And then there's also people that have reached out to me saying, look, I'm trying to train for my first 5K. I'd like to lose 20 pounds over the next 3 months, which is just a massive, massive goal. And you're talking about putting in work that is really, really impressive. Now, the truth is, when you put some effort towards something like this, especially when it comes to the endurance stuff, time is the factor by which your level of fitness is measured. And it's very, very objective, right? It's not like, oh, I play basketball on the side. Oh, so do I. Great, cool. We're both in this together. No, when it comes to time, it's an objective way to measure your level of fitness. And so sometimes when you hear this stuff, you can start to rank yourself in terms of, quote, how good you are because time is just readily available. And this can be challenging for a lot of people. It can be embarrassing. It can be motivating sometimes. It can also be a deteriorating factor. So you want to be cautious about that because there's very many levels to this game. We want to be able to use those things as motivation as opposed to someone that detracts. I'll give you an example though. So right before this half marathon, I reached out to my coach and I said, look, I'd like to jump on a call real quick to kind of discuss this half marathon. She said, okay, what do you want to talk about? I said, well, I'd like to discuss the speech I'm going to give when I win. And just, of course, joking, like there's some incredible athletes that would just absolutely not even be in the same category as me. And just joking around, you know. She said, oh, well, that would be perfect if you won it because I actually got second place last year, which is unbelievable. Like the coach that I have is in a completely different category. She's a 2:44 marathoner, which is running a marathon at 6:16 per mile. Now, when she did that, that got her to the Olympic trials in 2020, and she's going to run in Atlanta in the Olympic trials in about 3 weeks. Now, in the Olympic trials, however, when you run for the marathon, you only get to go to the Olympics if you place in the top 3. And the cutoff for the top 3 is usually in the 4:45 per mile range. It is just blistering. Now, at the elite level, the difference between someone who is a 6:16 per mile runner and a 5:45 per mile runner over a whole marathon, those are like two different worlds. So even there, you have this level where it's like, oh my gosh, that is a completely different level. Now, even going to the Olympics, if you're a 4:45 runner, the people who win the Olympics, I mean, Bridget Kosgei just recently broke the world record. She averaged 5:07 per mile. 5:07 per mile is in a completely different category of someone who goes to the Olympics at a 5:45 per mile average over the marathon. Now, my point is, in the world of trying hard and setting goals and focusing all your energy on something that you want, we are all in this together. So I mentioned at the beginning 5 words that seared into my soul and just pierced through. I was on Instagram recently. I saw David Goggins, who some of you may know, crazy guy, runs 100-mile, 200-mile races, running races. And he said he was at an event and someone came up to him and said, hey, dude, I ran a marathon in under 3 hours a few years ago. And David Goggins' response was, that is an awesome accomplishment, but, and here are the 5 words, what have you done today? Those were the 5 words that sears anyone's soul who has some thought in the back of their mind that they want to do something awesome. The question is, what have you done today? So regardless of what level you're on, regardless of the amount of natural talent you have, regardless of if you're putting in a lot of work to lose a few pounds or if you're on your way to the Olympic Games, if you have an answer to what have you done today, now all of a sudden we're all in the same field. Now all of a sudden we're all on the same team working towards something amazing. So regardless of its business, regardless of its athletics, especially when it comes to something objective, don't get caught up compartmentalizing people in that way unless it's strictly motivating. Because as long as you have an answer to what have you done today, you're heading the right direction. And a lot of people don't. And by the way, that's why I ended up signing up to run the LA Marathon, is because I had been thinking about it. And, oh yeah, I used to run in high school, blah, blah, blah. That's fine, whatever. What have you done today? I didn't have an answer. So hopefully that resonates.